It's December 1st, 2022. In real world terms, on the same calendar, I hear in New York that the Prince and Princess of Wales attended or visited Boston. They said that President Joe Biden was going to meet with them. I hear today he's meeting with Macron. I don't know if they addressed him as Prime Minister or President Macron. I'm not quite sure what the news people said. I've heard it mishmashed before. I'm in this where this is the highest symbol. I had an episode today where I went to the local doctor on the island, or one of the Northwell health system. There was some concerning, whatever, I made a video about it. I'm thinking more along the lines of this government has a two-party system, a history of presidents in this area, for which I have family heritage and genetics linked to some of these local management, whatever, throughout space and time, over like several generations of whatever. Kings and queens elsewhere, but here they call it presidents, for a kind of sort of family tree reference. They're in mythology or in somebody else's history books. Hollywood made movie mention of it with Brad Pitt. I didn't really see the movie. I don't really know the storyline. I don't know how it's pertinent. Here's the pertinent details I do know. Takes place in Greece. Two teams, Sparta and Troy. Beautiful woman, Helen. They're fighting over. They do something with a Trojan horse in some tactical style militia. War breaks out. Rest is in somebody's history books. Real life New York. There's a donkey, there's an elephant. The beginning of my breeding season, I'm forced into a position waiting for what I would have called a hummingbird. Personally, I was very happy with Nicolaus. He was 6 foot over, enough said, and visually very pleasing, which there's not a lot of that on this island. So right off the bat, I knew there was something very different going on. Happily in his company, happily wanting to stay with him, near him, and not part ways for fear of losing whatever, but instead was sent to wait and meet him inside of this crazy donkey. And that's what the building was called. So I don't know if that's the North American political party joke, I being like the one that got hurt in this, where the political party system, if that's their reference to this Trojan horse, and Jason Peter Romer 1976 being the representative that then like pursued me, and then it became a problem when all I wanted was the symbol on that sweatshirt that got all chewed up. That's the representative I wanted. That was a hummingbird. I am a flower. It's gardening techniques. It is not the average common whatever that 1976 guy is, that then leads into this Blacksmith 1975 problem. I don't know how else to put it. It's written in historical reference as in ancient Greek times about Helen of Troy. I know the British Isles of England and Ireland, that entire trip, close family members referenced me as Hela, more in a Viking context. Um, but I, again, at that time, I'd never even heard these words, Viking. I didn't know Greek mythology. One of Claudia's professors was at the garden party. Um, and so there's that. But that was when it appeared that things were respectful in my youth. Coming from the Glen to Heathrow Airport and visiting London. Um, and then off to Ireland and whatever we did. Um, so there's that. I know that there's this reference. I just don't, there's no teachings of it here. There's no teachings of anything Viking. There's no teachings of anything. I can't even get a Christian story correct. I'm like, right, okay. The only thing that the humans have kept consistent is that there was a Jesus. There's a good book. They have 4 managers' names in Go Spell. I've never really read the books, never really had humans speak on anything intelligent about Matthew, Mark, wait, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and in that order, for whatever reason. It always comes out from the humans. They always speak it out that way. In New York, anyway. But even that, they've kept, it's again, I don't know what they're up to. I don't. But the Sparta reference, the fact that I've got Troy here on metal, Troy, when I look up on Google and geospatially, it has reference to northwestern Turkey. No idea what their history is. No idea who their people are. No idea what kind of labyrinth or set of, like, a minefield that might be in somebody else's anger, um, with stuff outside of my even concept, being on an island in the Atlantic. Um, but I know it's referenced of Greece, not Turkey, just for clarity. The actual story itself in Greek mythology takes place in Greece, and there's a whole whatever epithet that goes along with that. I do see symbolic reference to my modern New York with what they did in their party system, somewhere between a crazy donkey, whatever, and then the disgusting common problem. Um, Now, Linda tells me and Lewis that in their life frame, they got married young. They went to Switzerland and Italy. They actually had to bring their marriage certificate to prove that they were married to even share a room. That is amazing. that they had that much um, cooperation amongst foreign land and homeland at that point. By the time I arrived and travel, it was pack a bag, get on an airplane, and whatever. I mean, there was really not much thought put into it, and there was no training on it. It wasn't like you couldn't share a room. I mean, it really is like a hobo style, like just I don't know, like homeless children just roaming the world is what it feels like. Um, it's what it looks like. And so, not quite sure what that's about. I didn't even put thought into like some of my travels. And I'm like, if I took the travels of late 90s with no education of that's not how my grandparents would have traveled. I mean, there was no, my grandfather was passed away at the time when I traveled. But like there was no instruction, like, no, you can't room with other people. In fact, on the flyer when we booked the trip, it was required double occupancy. Um, so that becomes like, I mean, like elections taken away, especially since, again, I have this upper class standing with cosmology and with something important in, but it's like all my elections were taken away quietly without my approval, without my permission, without anybody asking or surveying or polling me saying, would you have done it differently? It's really like your piece is really important to the rest of the leadership and the family. But nobody asks, so there's nobody to tell, which is like forced silence, which is even more frightening. Um, but until I gained that perspective of Lou and then having that conversation, and then today, I mean, trying to have for this one conversation, like the sexuality of a stuffed animal, like there is none. So whatever on that. I heard there's this Balenciaga thing going on. Don't know what that's about. But the fact that I walk in to this situation and with a doctor, and then there's somebody working the, it sounds like if I was on the set of an adult movie, which I don't even want to like talk about because that was never even a possibility. I'm in health crisis, going to a respectful profession with a respectful man who has a respectful book of business, works for a respectful hospital. I'm assuming, because I always take the side of his profession, in that he is the professional. I have no reason to say when I book the appointment that he's not a professional. And yet there's these, but then I get there and he's got some other situation working the lights and the door. There's another situation working questions in the hallway to him. Then there's this, I go to see a second doctor and he's got a whole nother situation, want to take my blood pressure. And I'm like, seriously? In I would not invite into my personal bedroom ever this situation. I would never have this conversation ever in public or with, like, I don't even know who takes this kind of like, okay, it's I really don't want to say it, but it has to be said. I am not all right with what showed up in the doctor's office today on the movie set of my life. If I'm in my private bedroom, there is a hummingbird that, if you looked like at a photo fully dressed and clothed and in respectable hummingbird fashion police seriousness, I mean, looks like we could be related, like kissing cousins kind of a thing. That's the only person like it is invited into the bedroom. So with that set scene, what I don't understand is how I've ever walked into a doctor's office or how anybody has set my schedule on algorithm, attached it to my insurance, attached it to my daily schedule, because I know at high efficiency wardrobe and set design and whatever, they have a lot bigger capabilities than what the human intelligence thinks is available. It's not some random selection when it comes to my person. There's been a whole lot of problematic, it's written in history. They reference it with some Troy, some Sparta, some Greek war with I don't know who. That is a larger fashion police version of some of the human intelligent or less than intelligent. I mean, honestly, Jason P. Rover 1976 is an insult to my intelligence at this point, as is Teofrio's even worse. I mean, it's just at least Romer stays away. Teofrio's just like an attachment, like it's like cancer that you just can't remove yourself. I don't know why. Um, and I see all of these problems of why, when I would never elect and have in my personal bedroom at my bedside anything that does not look like it is family relatable ever in personal privacy in a health crisis or otherwise in some exposed moment, why would they then, if I have a health crisis situation, I have to walk into an embarrassing enough situation with a respectable professional in a GYN facility, doctor's office, why would they staff it with non-family members? You're not invited into my bedroom. Why are you inviting yourselves into my health crisis exposure where I need specific health care? Why are these people on the schedule and in the room staring at me? It's a disgusting occurrence that is getting worse the longer time dilates. And I have special cosmic positioning. I mean, in that I mean, like, look for my self-worth. I've mastered the hands of time. I've mastered time itself. That gives me special positioning at God. It gives me a special argument position for which little challenge is allowed. So with that being said, I don't understand why I keep walking in to these intimate health crises where I'm trying to seek out advice respectfully so, and I keep coming up with all this integrated new management issues being put on my schedule. If it was the set of an adult movie, I wouldn't want them there. I wouldn't hire them for lighting. I wouldn't hire them for bed positioning. I wouldn't hire them at staring at me. I mean, I just wouldn't. So why are they there at the end of the bed when I'm in this health crisis and I want a private doctor and I want a private moment within a Northwell health system? Where is my personal liberty and freedoms? Because all I see is that it's being breached without my permission. I did not elect these people to come into the room. I did not elect for them to know my personal health problem or situation. I didn't hire them. I would never profess to them. I would not educate them as to my personal health issues. But yet there they are every time I walk into a building when I'm just trying to not get more sick than I already am. What is going on in the world here on this island and elsewhere? It's a big problem. I've never elected to have any kind of moment ever where it's an acceptable roommate situation. I've been assigned people that have, it's almost like camping out, but it's like, I mean, there's some level of trust when you close your eyes and there's some kind of mixed company. I mean, it's just, these are elections I didn't make. They were forced upon me. And then I don't know if someone's working under some assumption that I'm just okay with it, because I'm not. I haven't gotten my permanent hummingbird to flower relationship, but yet all of these really weird, odd, intimate details are encroaching on my civil liberties, my human liberties, and my personal freedoms. And it makes it look like I'm electing for certain things that I am not. And then the big wide picture is painted and portrayed completely wrong. But there are people benefiting by this Trojan horse that they sent in, which I have a name and a birth date for, and then some extended period of problems in whatever, whoever set this up, which I don't know. But I know that there are people who know, which is the really frightening part, in some larger paradigm. But if I look for parallel, paradox of historical reference, there was definitely a Trojan horse. There was something about Greece. There was something about Sparta and Troy. It's all I know. I know my grandfather also worked for the Red Cross, and it was something to do with Greece and Albany, or Albanese. Again, it was even a different language that he was working on and that he documented. So it's not even like a state's um, crossover event into the English language because he spoke other languages. It's relatable. It's just not something I have access to while I'm here. Um, and this was the look of the map and the healthcare system. That's the symbol that they use. While I'm in, this is the symbol. Symbolically, this is my grandfather left me. By hand, he crafted this. For his respectful bloodline of whatever came next. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. Now, interestingly enough, there is something. It's not just all this crazy donkey. There is other representatives on the other side, knowing more intimate details about whatever. But whatever's fighting, I know that they broke my season in order to enter into this. Now they're referring to it as a generational gap, whoever they are, and whatever the real underlying story is. But it's really concerning because I can see my health failing. I can see that around me, my simple personal preferences are not even being allowed. They're being taken from me. I don't set my schedule. I have to go whatever doctor takes the insurance, whatever doctor that is, however he staffs his office. Now I don't have my personal preferences. The doctor that looks like he could be a family member of mine that I choose to go to, but I don't know till I get to the office because some of these names don't even sound American. But if I go there, like I was like, oh my God, thank God you are you. But I don't understand why his staff doesn't look like he does and wear this forced scheduling comes in. Again, my personal freedoms, my personal elections ahead of time have been taken away by I don't know what. But it's really problematic, and it seems to be getting worse, which is even more frightening. And now I see Congress is changing, the speakers changing. New York, in Albany, when they reference it, I mean, it looks like Kathy Hochul's surrounded by, I don't know, like some, what happened in New York. I mean, in Long Island, we're separated by water. So I don't know, again, how that's working. But, I mean, we're not talking like a football field of players. I'm talking about an intimate movie set of my life in a health crisis or in my personal bedroom. They should look similar to my personal preference, but yet that's been completely taken away. It now looks like a football field walking into this intimate setting of respectable business practice of health management and crisis management. It now looks like any regular football field. That's a major problem. I didn't sign up for that. I'm not okay with that. But my personal elections have been tampered with, and my personal freedoms have been taken away over a long period of time, no less, without me even being able to get to a point of where I can get to help, like, I don't know, President Joe Biden. Does he care? I don't know. I don't even have access to party members, Republican or Democrat. I don't know how to find them. I don't know what they need to know. I don't know who they're associated with. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. Its Earth, solar system, Milky Way universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. But even with a letter and a designation in private youth growing up of GOD with witnesses, and at one point a presidential physical fitness test and an award given in that same chosen elementary school during a known administration. Even with all of that, I don't know why a respectful hummingbird was not dispatched for my flower during a respectable season, and how Trojan horse got whatever and followed me, and then, I mean, disgusting. It's December 1st, 2022.